Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. My name is Dave Dennis and I'm the Safety and Risk Management Director at Rustic Pathways. The reason for my presentation today is to share insight on the global safety and risk management practices at Rustic Pathways and to clarify what we do as an organization to safeguard your children. But before I dive into these details, let me first share a little bit about myself. I've worked in the adventure and student travel industry for over 20 years. I have a master's degree in risk management, and prior to joining Rustic, I was founder and president of a consulting firm that helped domestic and global tour operators mitigate risk and manage emergencies. I live in Colorado with my wife and two kids aged 12 and 16. My daughter, the 16-year-old, is a Rustic Pathways alumni. She's already traveled to Costa Rica and the Dominican Republic, and she's planning this summer to go to Morocco. So as I talk with you today about Rustic's approach to safety, I want you to realize that I'm speaking equally as a parent and as an employee of Rustic Pathways. At Rustic Pathways, we take a tiered and collaborative approach to managing risks. It's tiered because we're focused on three distinct levels of risk management: global awareness, country management, and program delivery. It's collaborative because we engage with families and country management teams equally to ensure students are treated as individuals and looked after with the utmost care and compassion. Before I talk about our tiered approach, however, I want to talk specifically about a core component of our risk management system since it's very specific to your child. This is our participant screening process. We realize that every student is an individual with his or her own expectations, preferences, and needs. Before any student can join our programs, everyone completes our comprehensive screening form, which allows us to learn more about your child and any conditions that would potentially impact their safety or experience. We have a dedicated team whose only job it is to review this information, understand any physical, medical, or mental health concerns, and to work with families, your doctors, or therapists to develop action plans wherever necessary. We then carefully communicate these special instructions to our country management teams in order to make appropriate preparations for their safety. For example, perhaps your son or daughter has a severe allergy to nuts or fruits. By learning more about the background of the allergy, the typical signs or symptoms of a normal reaction, and what the treatment is to manage the reaction, we can then share this information with our country team and make appropriate adjustments. In the nut allergy example, we'll talk with our cooking teams to ensure nut-free options at every meal and to ensure that no cross-contamination of any sort has taken place. Likewise, your child may be one of many that are seeing a therapist to help stabilize or manage their individual pathway to adulthood. Our screening team actively engages families to learn more about student situations and how we can make adjustments to support your child while they travel abroad. This insight allows us to make allowances that improves your child's experience and allows them personal growth in a secure and supportive environment. Once the students arrive in country to begin their program, our program leaders sit with each student individually to learn about their interests, their anxieties, their expectations of the program, and to discuss any highlighted issues contained within their medical form. Students are asked to bring any urgent medical devices or medication to this meeting so they can talk openly over its use and where it is kept in case of an emergency. An example would be an EpiPen for allergies. While the participant screening process is performed, we sometimes come across situations where the style of the program a student has enrolled in is not appropriate for a particular condition they may have. For example, a student with a recent head injury or concussion would not be suitable for a program that spends time at higher elevations such as hiking in Mongolia or climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. These cases are rare, and when they do occur, we do our best to find an alternate program that provides a similar experience the student is looking for, but without the unnecessary risk. Returning to our tiered approach to risk management, you'll recall that we focus on global awareness, country management, and program delivery. At each level, we have systems in place that complement each other to support the safety of our students and staff worldwide. This approach allows us to effectively maintain a watchful eye on global and regional risks, verify on-the-ground situations, and implement immediate actions to address any issue or make changes to avoid a specific risk altogether. Remaining aware of global issues is an ongoing process, and we don't attempt to do this ourselves. Rather, we rely on key partnerships and trusted agencies to help our program teams remain updated. The most notable of these trusted agencies include the U.S. State Department, Overseas Security Advisory Committee, or OSAC, HX Global, the Centers for Disease Control, and the World Health Organization. Let me tell you a little bit about each. The U.S. State Department is a government agency that monitors global security. This organization sends daily updates on current events around the world and occasionally issues travel safety warnings for international travelers and workers. Within their website, each country around the globe can be researched and evaluated for its individual safety. OSAC is a security and intelligence cooperation between the American private sector operating worldwide and the U.S. government. Similar to the U.S. State Department, OSAC offers insight on global security and safety updates from a business and government agency perspective. HX Global is one of the largest medical and emergency service organizations in the world and is Rustic Pathways' contracted partner for global support. HX provides valuable insight on country safety, but also provides valuable information as travelers prepare for their program. Every student and staff traveling with Rustic Pathways has access to these services, which become available once you've confirmed your enrollment on a program. Both the Centers for Disease Control and the World Health Organization provide specialized information relating to travel medicine, illnesses, recommended vaccinations, and so forth. These resources are referenced frequently by my team, and myself, of course, particularly when evolving issues arise, such as the Zika virus in 2016. While all these resources are valuable for informing our business and preparing students for travel, they're just the first step in knowing what's happening around the globe. In every country we operate, we have an operations team that is part of Rustic Pathways. We don't outsource our programs, which is a very important key element to student safety. This team, our country team, is formed from a blend of local and international staff to give us the unique ability to implement global policies while still understanding their relationship to local cultures and communities. We rely on our country teams to understand what's taking place at the local level in comparison to what we learn from the global perspective. We do this by talking regularly with U.S. embassies to discuss our programs, the regions we visit, and even to outline our program itineraries in specifics. Likewise, we talk fluidly with our vendors and community service partners to gain their insight on regional safety. Country teams will even talk with local authorities as well to gain an added layer of perspective. This partnership and collaboration with embassies, local partners, and agencies is key to filtering through misinformation presented by the media and to understand what local actions can be taken to improve the level of safety for our students and staff. All of this global and country level preparation culminates at the program level, where our staff utilize this information to ensure our programs run safely. For each program that Rustic Pathways operates, we create program risk management plans that identify specific known or anticipated risks and the actions we can take to mitigate their occurrence and severity. Risk management plans also evaluate all activities performed on each program, identify the nearest hospital and embassy within each location we visit, and include the emergency contact information for local, country, and director level support. Prior to every program, the team of program leaders review this information and discuss any concerns or questions with their manager. This team also reviews student medical forms and corresponding action plans, review community service project planning, vendor documents, activity standards, and all other program-specific information to ensure everyone is working in unison. So who are our program leaders? All of our leaders are young professionals aged 22 or older. They all have a bachelor's degree or equivalent work experience and have spent at least 2 years working in education, student travel, or performing work within youth with youth in a similar capacity. We perform criminal and employment background checks annually in addition to other qualifications for hire. To work in foreign countries, some sort of local language proficiency is needed. We basically have two categories of program leaders, seasonal and full-time. Seasonal leaders are hired during our busiest periods, many of which return to Rustic Pathways annually. Every single seasonal leader must have basic first aid CPR certifications, which is common in the industry. Many of these seasonal hires come to us with increased medical training and certification, which includes wilderness first aid, wilderness advanced first aid, wilderness first responder, and even EMT training. For our full-time program leaders, we invest heavily on their medical training and certifications. All of our full-time leaders are wilderness first responder trained. This means that they have advanced medical training specific to the outdoors and working within remote locations. Two types of Rustic Pathways programs are required to have a WWOOFer certified leader. The first being any program that has a destination located more than 2 hours away from definitive medical care, and the second is whenever we have a type 1 diabetic within the student group. Our investment in medical training and staff certifications is uncommon in the industry, and we feel we really set the bar for others to follow. On every program, we work with local service providers for our transportation, accommodation, activities, and community services. In order to ensure we're working with responsible and reliable organizations, we perform comprehensive business assessments to evaluate the safety and sustainability practices of each business. These assessments are performed regularly by the country management team in collaboration with local service provider. We evaluate all aspects of the business, including applicable insurance and operating permits, their hiring, training, and performance monitoring for their staff, vehicle and equipment maintenance and repair, and on and on and on. Since local laws and business regulations vary across the globe, our vendor vetting process ensures we're evaluating our service providers on a single set of expectations that are based on the highest industry standard. Complementing the vendor vetting process is our internal set of activity guidelines that we call our activity standards. These are practical and ground-level guidelines used by our program leaders. These guidelines are simple, yet effective in ensuring our vendors don't overlook critical safety elements. An example would be ensuring a pre-activity safety talk is always provided to groups prior to starting an activity, or that safety equipment is always sized appropriately and fitted to each student. At Rustic Pathways, we never exceed a 7-to-1 ratio, meaning 7 students to each program leader. We always have males and females on every program, and we maintain a blend of local and international staff, each contributing their own skill sets, knowledge, and perspective that benefits the student experience. On most itineraries, we allow some degree of unsupervised time, like visiting a local market. Whenever this happens, we are clear about acceptable and unacceptable behavior, meeting times and locations, and most importantly, remaining in groups so no one is ever walking alone. We provide every student with emergency cards that they carry with them for the entire duration of the program. These cards have the program leader's phone number, the local emergency support, which would be equivalent to 911 here in the U.S., and other essential information to the program and contacting our management team there locally. Now I want to talk to you about our structure for responding to incidents that might happen on program, whether these might be medical illnesses, physical injury, or mental health emergencies. I'm not going to lie and pretend that these never happen. International travel comes with inherent risks that are unavoidable. Students are removed from their normal day-to-day environment. They try new foods. They're taken out of their comfort zones. This is the beauty of a Rustic Pathways program, because these experiences can be provided in a more protected environment than students would experience elsewhere, but things happen, as any international or traveler knows. We've developed a robust response system for managing incidents that is consistent across our business, from local teams to our executive crisis response team. This structure is based on the Incident Command System, which is a response system used by law enforcement, fire department, and search and rescue teams. The Incident Command System is effective because it designates specific roles and tasks for every responder involved in an incident. This allows us to manage incidents effectively while keeping stakeholders informed and updated frequently. We have a color coding system that identifies and categorizes the severity of an incident, and for each type of event, we have a set of procedures to guide our response actions. At Rustic, our typical incident involves an illness or minor injury, and the program leaders manage these situations locally with the support of their country management team. If an event is significant enough, either myself or one of my director colleagues are contacted to help navigate the situation. We also have a medical director and mental health director on staff to provide support and guidance, or simply to ensure we're considering all aspects of a situation. As I mentioned earlier, we have a crisis response team assigned and trained to manage significant or regional events. This team is comprised of our executive leadership, including our CEO, our CFO, our team of vice presidents, and our operations directors. Each crisis response team member has a specified checklist of activities to perform during an event to ensure the situation is managed fluidly, responsibly, and focused on keeping all stakeholders informed. Complementing our response teams is our 24-hour emergency phone that is accessible to anyone with a student on a program. And finally, we have our partnership with HX Global. As I mentioned, HX Global is a leading emergency services organization, and they have approved doctors and medical facilities in every area of the world to ensure our students are treated by the best available facility possible. They know exactly where the nearest hospital would be if an illness or injury needed specialized attention. They monitor student treatments and advise us if they disagree with a recommended course of action. They even help us find prescribed medications that might not be readily available nearby. I must mention that HX Global is not an insurance provider, so securing travel medical insurance must be done separately and is the responsibility of every traveler. We do have a trusted third-party provider should you need any help securing this. Our world can seem like a scary place with all the many events that occur from time to time around the globe. I recognize the seriousness of these events and understand the important role Rustic Pathways has in safeguarding your children and protecting them from harm. Most threats to international travelers are centralized around public transportation and popular tourist sites. Recognizing this, we intentionally spend minimal time at tourist sites and hire private transportation companies to fulfill all of our transportation needs. As detailed previously, we actively work with trusted agencies to keep our finger on the pulse of regional events and to ensure our program itineraries are not exposing anyone to unnecessary risk. However, we remain flexible in making adjustments to our programs based on any significant findings. We base these decisions on knowing when a risk exceeds our capabilities, and we will never disregard the recommendations of the U.S. State Department, the World Health Organization, or any other trusted agency. If they deem an area unsafe for any reason, we will make any and all necessary changes. Maintaining student safety requires a partnership with our families and students. We need transparency from families regarding medical conditions and other issues that might impact the way we can safeguard your child. Students have an obligation to talk with their program leaders when something is wrong. While I understand that it is sometimes more comfortable to call mom or dad when a student isn't feeling well or if they're struggling on a program, students have to realize that the leaders are the ones on the ground that can make a difference and make the situation better. Students should speak up early and make themselves known when something is not right. Likewise, students have an obligation to ensure they are taking good care of themselves while traveling. This means they need to eat good meals, stay hydrated, maintain good hygiene, wear sunscreen and bug spray, and to not put themselves in difficult or unsafe situations intentionally. Travel is a great opportunity for personal growth, and by working together, we will create a safe and secure environment. That's all I have for you today. I realize I provided a lot of information, and I invite you to visit our website for more information. I also encourage you to contact us with any questions, concerns, or specific requests. All of us at Rustic Pathways are committed to ensuring your child has a safe, secure, and rewarding experience while traveling. Thank you for your time, and good night.